KREM 2 News begins now.
Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus. I'm Tim Pham. This is your KREM 2 News Week in Review. Join us as we take a closer look at some of the biggest stories in the Inland Northwest this past week.
Yeah, I did get an update from fire officials. Now, I did arrive several hours ago, and I will describe what exactly I saw when I first got here, but let me show you what it's looking like as of right now. As you can see, the Wolf Lodge has completely been burned down to the ground, and you can see all around the lodge as well, there is a bunch of charred ground from the fire that kind of came up and spread out to the nearby wildlife area. Now, it is important to note that today the Wolf Lodge was closed for customers. However, a worker here says that every Labor Day, the owner throws a barbecue for their staff and their families as well. The fire chief for Kootenai County Fire and Rescue, Christopher Wade, tells me that at this point, crews aren't sure what started the fire, but that they will be here monitoring the scene for hours. Now, when firefighters arrived on scene, they said they saw flames both in the chimney of the restaurant and in the attic. Now, this fire has 11 different fire organizations responding to it, as well as over 9 different water tenders to get water from Lake Coeur d'Alene, since there are no fire hydrants on site. Now, there was a small wildfire in the wooded areas, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, around the steakhouse, but crews have contained it at this time, and the steakhouse itself, though, has been destroyed. Now, I had a chance to talk with Travis Anderson, who has worked at the Wolf Lodge Steakhouse for over 20 years. He says that the loss of this historic location is going to be felt by the community for a very long time.
I'm devastated, tragic. Me personally, I think I'm still in shock. When I first got there, before they kind of put the block off, there was a lot of crying and tears and just, disbelief that it was actually happening. And then, yeah, it was hard to watch. Something I kind of wish I didn't really get to witness, to be honest with you.
As fire crews continue to work, they ask that people stay out of the area, especially because people have been nearly hit on I-90 trying to take pictures of the damage. But like I said earlier, fire crews will remain on site for the next couple hours to make sure that there aren't any flare-ups here in the area. Live in Coeur d'Alene, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Well, here at the Wolf Lodge, the property is now fenced off as the state fire marshal's office investigates what caused this fire. Now, it'll take a few days before we learn the official cause, but at this point, officials say it appears to be accidental.
Several fire agencies gave it their all to save this iconic Western steakhouse. The Wolf Lodge stood for more than 85 years. But what seemed like an instant, the Wolf Lodge Steakhouse is now gone.
It's very, very sad.
The years of memories in this special place are now piles of char and ash.
A lot of history there that went up in flames and that can never be retrieved.
It's that history that brought longtime customers back here throughout the day to catch a glimpse of what's left.
Just wanted to see what happened.
Customers like Julie Bauman are stunned by the still smoldering debris.
It's so unbelievable how it collapsed.
It's not an easy sight to take in, and certainly one that will take some time to mourn.
I don't think you ever get closure.
The state fire marshal's office is investigating the cause of the fire. They took photos and videos of the property and later began moving debris to find the fire's origin. Kootenai County Fire and Rescue Chief Chris Way says all this information will help investigators piece together what happened here.
So they're trying to kind of gauge a timeline of kind of how the fire progressed and where the fire was by the time 911 was already called.
Chief Way says Wolf Lodge was not open to the public the day of the fire. He says management was hosting their annual appreciation barbecue for its staff. The owners aren't ready to speak publicly, but they've thanked the community for its support online.
I hope everything turns out for the best for them.
Among the lost memories here, a piece of beauty now stands out among the debris, flowers left by a heartbroken server.
And here is a closer look at those flowers this evening. They're just a simple piece of love here among the heartbreak at Wolf Lodge. Now, we do know the assistant manager suffered second-degree burns in this fire. We learned this afternoon, though, that they have been released from the hospital and are recovering. Amanda Rolby, KREM 2 News.
Yeah, drivers, even law enforcement were shocked to see a man hanging off the back of a semi during the Friday afternoon commute.
It's shocking. It's probably one of the most unusual things that I would put in my category of my 29 years.
In fact, Sergeant Gregory Riddell says he didn't believe it when calls started rolling in around 2:30 Friday.
Because we had several people calling 911.
Honestly, I don't even remember. Just a guy had hitched a ride on the back of a semi and he's headed on the freeway.
Lauren Carson was one of the callers.
He's getting on the freeway.
Oh my God.
She also got a close look at the baffling situation when the man boarded his freeway-bound ride.
He was just walking around asking people for a lighter and then just hitched a ride on the back of the semi before the light turned green.
Luckily, those other drivers flagged down the semi to pull over. The man jumped off before troopers arrived and disappeared over a 10-foot wall.
It's kind of like a Marvel comic of Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
Whether it's a harrowing hitchhiking or something else.
Yeah, well, I call it extremely dangerous. I don't know if it was a stunt. I don't know if it was someone trying to hitch a ride.
Sergeant Riddell says he's not sure the man realized he may be in for a long haul at freeway speeds.
Quite some distance of travel at freeway speeds, about 1.5 miles, 2 miles. But you can imagine at 60 miles an hour and other traffic going around, one slip, and that's a fatal collision.
And it goes without saying, but Sergeant Riddell wants you to know this is not only dangerous, it's illegal. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
There's definitely excitement in the air, especially as kids made their way to school this morning. Now, I definitely was one of those kids that was super excited for the first day of school to show off my new outfits and my new backpacks to all my friends that I hadn't seen all summer long. We got a chance to talk to parents, students, and faculty today about what they're most excited about for this upcoming school year.
Right now, we're just excited to see kids. Finally, our staff was here last week checking in and having conferences with parents and students. This is our first day with kids, and so for me personally, just having kids here, seeing families, seeing their smiles, all excited about the first day.
I am glad that they love to be here, so I'm good with that.
Right, as a parent, how does that make you feel?
I'm really glad because they love to come here, and I don't want to have them crying and screaming, kicking that they don't want to come to school, so.
We do a lot of work over the summer getting our teachers prepared to welcome them back, to create an environment where the kids are connected and they're excited to learn to achieve whatever they want. And so it's just always this anticipation of hope that we have here, and our kids just smile when they come in. Some are even they don't want to smile in front of us. They feel like they connect and belong with us.
So Keilani, it's your first day of school. How you doing? How do you feel?
Good.
Yeah. Are you super excited?
Yeah.
What are you most excited for first grade?
I don't know.
Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Well, the Clean Water Accountability Coalition spearheaded this recall effort last week. An attorney for the group said French's accused actions come down to plain corruption. And French, as you saw, is responding, saying the recall comes down to plain bad politics. It's been less than a week since a recall effort was launched against Commissioner Al French, spearheaded by a coalition of West Plains residents and progressive group Fuse Washington, which endorsed his District 5 rival. French says it's a disingenuous, cynical effort to confuse voters. You've chalked all this up to just a political ploy, correct?
Yes, that's right. It is exactly a political ploy. The fact that no other elected official that had the same knowledge I did was part of the recall tells you that it's a political maneuver.
In 2017, shortly after Fairchild Air Force Base reported so-called forever chemicals, PFAS, were leaking into private water supplies, the Spokane International Airport contracted a testing of its monitoring wells. That's documented in these reports, which showed PFAS levels above state action levels.
Everybody in 2017 was aware of the presence of PFAS. You had to turn on a TV station, read a newspaper. Everybody was aware of that.
But the Department of Ecology says it wasn't aware, not until 2023, when it received those sample results sent by a third party after a public records request. The recall blames French for a delayed response in investigating and testing the spread of contamination. He says he wasn't the one holding things up.
Because ecology tried to get the county to do work that the ecology is really designed to do. They have the resources, they have the legal authority.
French says another reason the studies weren't done sooner, a conflict of interest between the airport and its partial owner, Spokane County. The recall says French was the one with a conflict of interest, and that he blocked PFAS grants and other assistance from county commission votes to protect the airport. Did you use your position as commissioner to block or cover up the PFAS contamination?
Absolutely not, and there is absolutely no evidence of that anywhere.
He says the accusations have been checked and rechecked by attorneys for the county and airport.
There's no foundation for any of the charges.
He's confident the same will be found in court, and the recall won't go anywhere. So the recall petition will go to the county prosecutor, who will draft ballot language, and a Superior Court judge will then decide if there's enough to proceed with this recall effort. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
On August 14th of last year, Spokane County Sheriff's Office documents say Clay Hilton was responding to a suspicious vehicle at Terrace View Park, where he had an interaction with the vehicle's owner, Kevin Hinton. That interaction ended in a beating, and Hilton has now been charged with assault and false swearing charges. A third-party investigation by the Spokane Police Department said the interaction led to Hilton striking Kevin Hinton multiple times in the head, stomach, and kneecaps while both standing up and sitting down. Investigation documents say once another deputy arrived on scene, no more force was used. They go on to say after the altercation, messages between Hilton and a 911 dispatcher show the two discussing what happened during the altercation. It reads, Clay Hilton, well, that went south fast. Dispatcher, just had to get that last hurrah in there, huh? Clay Hilton, yeah, he was a no person, but I think he may have learned a lesson. Corrected to lesson. Dispatcher, oh, I'm sure he did, LOL. Clay Hilton, wait for his booking photo. Tim Note, one of the attorneys representing Hinton, says the year it took to reach Hilton's firing is a common time frame for investigations within law enforcement.
Police and sheriffs have really extraordinary union protections compared to most citizens, and so that, you know, these processes for actually going through an internal affairs investigation and ultimately being terminated take time.
When announcing his firing, Sheriff Knowles saying in part, quote, I have made changes to policy ensuring we appropriately document and review all uses of force. I reached out to the Sheriff's Department and asked what the changes in reviewing all uses of force entail. They replied with no comment. Hilton's arraignment is set for later this month. In studio, Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
Well, you can still see the impact dent, even car parts still outside the Best China Buffet after Spokane police say a man rammed into the building, then ran over a woman.
Yeah, he lost his freaking mind.
That's the voice of Dawn Cortness, now recovering at home in Chewelah after a man ran her over Tuesday night. It happened in the parking lot of the North Spokane Buffet, where her entire family spent the evening.
It was my mom's 81st birthday dinner.
This photo was taken moments before the celebration soured, when a black Nissan came flying through the parking lot, Don says.
Squealing his wheels, driving erratically.
Lonnie Boykin is charged with assault and felony hit and run. Witness David Cortness says he and his family had to dodge Boykin's car.
He kept backing up, trying to hit one of us, and then smashed right into the restaurant trying to get my friend.
After running into the building, Spokane police say Boykin swerved toward Dawn.
And that's when he just barreled into me and Like, he literally aimed for me.
She's now waiting to learn if she needs surgery for a broken knee. She's thankful it's mostly scratches and bruises, but the family's baffled as to why this happened. Boykin's a total stranger.
I know, Mr. Boykin, you've only been in Spokane 3.5 weeks. It says that you are previously from California and Wyoming.
The court witnesses say he yelled at them to call the cops after he peeled through the parking lot. They say they just told him to slow down to protect their children and elderly relatives.
I feel like if she wouldn't have got hit, that he would have kept going, and he literally could have killed all of us.
Boykin will be held in jail on $10,000 bond.
When you're aiming a car at somebody and putting it to the floor, you're trying to kill them, if you ask me. I mean, when you try to smash somebody in between a building and a car, you're trying to kill them. And when you run into a group full of people, you're trying to at least hurt somebody.
Shannon Mowdy.
You know, so it could have went ugly, could have got ugly.
KREM 2 News.
Uglier than it did.
Hi, it's Dave Kinnermolly for the Northern Quest Mercedes giveaway.
Talk to me about what kind of led the three of you to, work together for all the years that you did.
I joined Ken, and we joined together. We were breakfast boys. And then in late 1998, Molly joined to help us with Christmas Wish.
It's supposed to be 3 weeks. Turned into 26 years.
It turned into Dave, Ken, and Molly after all that time.
Talk to me about like that last day of work and what that maybe was like at the station.
Well, it started off okay. We did the show, and then literally 20 minutes after that, it was bing, bing, bing. We were all wiped out individually.
We didn't know it was our last show.
Right. It was our last show.
Shock set in first.
Yeah,
and
then it was several days before I thought of anything other than, being fired. So then we, started to think about, okay, what's the next move?
As unemployed radio hosts, we don't really do days of the week.
How long was it until you guys kind of decided to pursue this with Northern Quest?
Well, that actually happened, I think, pretty quick when they made the initial connection and say, hey, if you guys aren't busy, would you like to? And well, we're not busy. We have nothing. So,
would you like to be unemployed DJs?
Yeah.
And we said we are.
Yeah.
So it's come to this.
It's a living.
Guys.
Obviously, it's a little tongue-in-cheek.
I think we liked it right away.
Yeah. The first I heard of the concept, I thought, well, that sounds funny.
They call it Almost Fridays. Get it? Kind of like a running start to the weekend for people with jobs.
What would you have wanted to say after all that time on the radio?
This is where we want to be, and we decided to stay, and we're glad that we did up until the last day.
That was what was so amazing, how many people really just want to go with us, and if we weren't there, that was shocking and so amazing just to say, the only reason we're here is because of youth.
We've had kids and everything that's happened in our families. Our listeners, same things have happened.
Mm-hmm. Divorces, many divorces.
Yeah, Molly has had so many.
But deaths and Ken's accident and all of these things that we went through, and grandchildren and children, and we all went through that. And I don't think you can plan for something. You can't plan on impacting a community.
So many life moments, I guess, through there. And even our birthdays, we could do a whole.
Oh yeah.
We could do a month of
all
shows
of your
on our-
birthdays, you guys. I
on
mean,
our
they've had
fun
so
birth-
many birthdays because they've been around so much longer than I have.
She's making herself laugh again. So.
If it's not funny to me, why would I say it? That's my theory. It has to start here.
For, Dave, Ken, and Molly, what's next?
We're formulating a plan. It'll be good. We'll have a big announcement coming up, and you'll see it everywhere. It'll be great. If anybody used to wake up with us and they missed that, they'll have that in their lives again. And it'll be just like we just took a long summer off.
Cougar Pride is back loud and proud on this hillside along 195. Many Cougs feared the tradition wouldn't return for its 6th year, but a new sponsor's making it happen in record time. It's become a staple crop in Cougar country. The giant mural on farmland outside Pullman. Land,
yeah, since the 30s it has been.
that has deep roots in Jack Fulf's life.
Yeah, pretty deep.
In fact, the only thing deeper may be his Cougar Pride, which is why he was happy to volunteer up his land for the 6th year.
I've been told so many times, do you know how many smiles you bring into Pullman?
Artist Stan Hurd is behind the huge highway attraction.
5 feet over to that line, which looks pretty accurate.
In all, 270 feet of Coug spirit.
So an acre is 200 feet by 200 feet. So this is about an acre and a half or something like that.
In May, the creative team learned the former sponsor wasn't renewing the contract to bring the art back. So all this is an even bigger surprise for the Palouse.
Probably 14 days ago. Yeah, so when you mentioned May, it was August for us. So this has been a really fast turnaround and fast decision.
WSECU is sponsoring the mural this year.
It so quickly has become such an icon to this community and an instant tradition, and this thing that brings people together from the town, from the university, alumni, and how quickly the word was that people were going to miss it.
Moving heaven and earth and mulch to make it happen in just over a week, because this is a piece of Pullman.
Because it's the compost that everybody brings in. So they mix it all up, all of the lives of all of the peoples, all of their DNA is in this in a way.
And a point of pride.
I think of it as the state's largest welcome mat right now. You know, welcome back to Pullman, welcome Cougs, that needed sense of pride.
Coug fans need support.
Yeah,
yes.
That's why this,
And-
that's why this image of strength and pride.
See, that's what we love.
It's probably been one of the hardest decisions of my life.
After over 2 decades of growing her business and watching it transcend into something she thought she could only dream of, Celeste Shaw is passing the baton.
To be more respectful of my family, we had to make the hard decision for me to just step back.
Due to growing health issues over the years. Chaps started back in 2002 as a love note to Celeste's grandmother. She spent 4 years transforming this house into a now cherished restaurant in the community. Chaps officially opened in 2006. At the beginning, they served customers on weekends with only a handful of items on the menu, one being her grandmother's cobbler.
I think that the way that I've been able to serve here at some level to the people, I think I know that she'd be proud of me and how she raised me.
We have a big thing to live up to, and we're here to do it.
Sarah Shore will now pick up the baton as the new owner of Chaps after she and her mother fell in love with the restaurant 12 years ago.
I remember when we walked in the door and we both kind of stopped and looked at each other, because the whole place reminds me of her house when she was a kid. It was just so nostalgic, and it just kind of became our place.
This opportunity is more than just destiny to Sarah.
An answered prayer. It's the only way I can describe it, because it seems a little bit beyond me, but it's here, it's reality, and I can't describe it any other way.
Celeste is grateful for Spokane's tenacity when it comes to supporting small businesses.
It really doesn't belong to me. I feel that Chaps at some level belongs to the people, and I've just been the guardian of that for this long.
And while ownership is changing hands, Chaps' commitment to the community will remain.
I feel like she's done something so significant here with making people feel like they have a place to be loved and safe. I just want that to keep going. Our community and our world needs that.
Celeste says even though she isn't the owner anymore, that doesn't mean that you won't still see her around.
Hi there. Welcome in.
Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 Plus for a look at some of the biggest news stories of the past week. For the most current news throughout the weekend, you can watch our latest newscast right here on KREM 2 Plus. Just look for them in the bottom navigation menu. I'm Tim Pham. Thanks for watching.